guys. Stream started. Okay. Welcome guys. Let's get started. So today I think by next video I think we should start using a to-do app or something, right? Because now or a project management software like maybe ClickUp or something, so that we know exactly what we're going to do, right? Or maybe we can use Notion, and we can always have the Notion link attached to the video so that people will be able to see it, like what we're going to be doing next. Or what do you guys think? So if you guys think we should do that, type that in the comment section, right? And we can do that. So let me make a post to let me send to a WhatsApp group I'm part of. Okay, it's not done. Okay, let me get the post. I think can we get it from here? Thank you guys for liking the post. Alright, let's copy this. We should copy this one. Right, and we can send it in the group. So the people are discussing about the hosting platforms they use stuff. Okay, so let's get started. Wait, let me switch back. Okay, so the stream byte rate is lower than the recommended byte rate we commonly use. It's having good connection, but it's 1470, and we can't really change the latency, and I don't think I can change it in the streaming stuff as well. I'm not sure if it's going to allow that, but let's see. Stream within YouTube, and the maximum video bitrate is 51k. I'm just trying to use the normal bitrate. Using a bitrate of 6800. kbps, but I'm using, let me set it to 10,000 then. I set to 10,000 for streaming. The audio, I decided to get the audio to, let's say, 192 to 160. Okay, 160. Okay. I hope the stream is going to stop. Well, it's having a good connection, so um, so I just know that next time if I want to start, I'm just going to use the low latency, because it seems the normal latency is not going to work for me. Something, so it's probably best for me to just use. Uh, so let me take this tab to this side. I was watching about podcasting, so let's close this one too. Let's close this. Okay. Let's close this. Let's open a new tab, and in this new tab we're going to localhost to open our. So let's get this up and running. Okay. So npm run dev, right? npx convex dev. I'm not sure if we even have to. We really need to have this running, since we are not making any changes that we want it to auto deploy to convex server. So I don't think this is like really necessary, right? I don't think so, but it's just good to have. I think it's good to have. Okay. Maybe I could have latency something. I mean, so I'm sorry, just checking the messages I'm getting for the stream. Which is YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, the viewers be experiencing buffering. Just wanted to try out something new, I probably shouldn't have used the normal latency, should have used the low latency. But that's good. We learned something today on that, I guess. So, yeah. Let's go to workflow. Workflow here. I mean, this is where we stopped yesterday, right? Where we just tried to show the options, right? And today we said we're going to be working mostly on the back end, trying to put together the interface of the interface structure of the nodes that we're going to be creating, and then we're going to put out the interface of the connections as well. I mean, when I mean by connection, like authentication, right? So we have exactly the way we want the authentication structure to look like, right? So we're going to start with, we go back to the code. So we're going to start with this. We're going to continue with this actually. So okay. So got it in the type, we have description. So we have the methods, the data options, and then this other description we have this, but we want to have more, right? The icons is important, the name is important, display name is important, and we don't want other classes to be able to make changes to this. It's only read only. The description is just read only, right? So we have this any. It's not going to be any. It's going to be functions, because we want to have functions that we try to call, right? That's what we want to try to have. Let me see this. It's like behind. Okay. It's trying to check the string. We want this to be functions, right? Because in here, let's see, in Gmail, let's give an example of like methods that we're looking to have. So we have methods, right? And we have load options, I guess. Or is that not load option? Yeah, load options. So let it come here, it's going to be wrong. So load options. And then in here we want to be able to have like kind of like async let's say get from emails. Let's say that is what we're trying to do, right? So we want this is going to be a function that is going to take in an argument, I guess. It's probably going to take an argument. It's probably going to take an argument. Right. Oh my god. So we can have like it's going to take an argument. Right. It can be any, and it's going to return a promise. Right. We don't know what the promise is going to be. This might be an array. This might be an object. Or we can always just make it by default an array. So this can be what? A function that takes in arguments. Right, that is any, and returns promise. That is going to be an array. Let's say records string any. It's going to be an array of that. I think that's better. That's better. And then we have execute. This also can be a function. I don't know what that is going to. That's going to look like here. So this execute is what we're going to call whenever we're trying to like execute a node in a workflow. So like when it's going through, so I can have this optional. because it's going to be optional, but we don't know what that is going to look like. So it can take in an argument which can be optional, and it's any optional, and it's any. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. And we don't know what that is going to return yet. I think when a node is run, when this node is run, when this node is run, right? This node, when this node is not run, like we send, let's say we send a request to this node, to this webhook endpoint. It's cached the webhook. It catches the webhook. Then we use the webhook ID to find the workflow. Okay. To find the workflow, if there's a workflow with that webhook, right? Then, if there's a workflow with that webhook, it's with that webhook as a trigger, right? Obviously, webhooks is going to be trigger, not we can have request. That's the one that sends out, or webhook comes in, or something. I don't know. But it catches the webhook. We find the workflow that it belongs to, right? We get the workflow, and then we loop through the nodes. Each nodes inside of it, we find the trigger, right? We find the trigger. So it starts with the trigger because sometimes we want to send some data from here down to the remaining nodes as they follow, right? So so uh, so it runs the trigger first, and that trigger, it runs the execute of the webhook method class, right? It runs the executing there to sort of process the data, right? It processes the data. It processes the data. Sorry. Okay. I thought I was tagged on the post. Okay, since I'm signed out. Sign back in. So it goes into the webhook execute method and runs the necessary things it needs to run. Like if it is a form, data, or if it is like a JSON application, depending on the content type or like the method and content type, right? Because we're not trying to specify if it's going to be getting post request or get request or post request or delete request. It can get any, right? It can get any. We sort of process the data for them to be able to use. So Then when that data is processed, we return the processed data. That's gonna be served as a response for this trigger for the webhook, right? We return the webhook data back, which is going to be an array. We take it like an array and or an object that has data, which can be an array. Then we send that data down to, like, we sort of store that data in the overall workflow, right? Then we'll be able to use that data anywhere else we want to use it in the workflow. Right. Okay. So that's the thought process. And I think what we're trying to get here is we want to get data, which is going to be an array of records. So I'm just going to say record, and string any. It's going to be an array of. Then we have error, which is going to be optional, which is going to be let's say the error is also going to be an array of records. Because I don't know what that is going to look like yet. So, and the data can also be optional, because sometimes you just don't have any data to, or we can have the data to be, since it's an array, just returns an empty array, right? And we want the error to be optional because we don't want to have any error at all. Like, I mean, there can be no error, so we don't want to return error key. So we can just check the error key. If there's error, then the execution can sort of stop or something, as the thought process. And one thing is we have poll, which is, let me say, it's going to be the same thing. So poll is just if we I don't know, if, like, it's just the function has to run when we're trying to pull from an external app, right? Let's say we do a cron job every 5 minutes or something like that to get email from Gmail. Check the email from Gmail so that it will run the trigger or something. Then we have to call this poll method. I don't know what this is going to, we're probably not going to be using that, or we probably will, but for now, that's what we have. So then we have the name, icon. Do we need any description or content? I don't think we need it. I don't think we need it. I think we should just leave it. No description at all. But we have events, which is going to be an array. So let's say export interface inode description events. So inode description events. So what this is going to be is it's going to be the events and the operation that we're trying to perform. Like here, when we click on this, the events that we're trying to perform, right? So it's going to look more like we have here. It's not going to have any icon, but it's going to have name. It's going to have one thing here. It's going to have a type, which can be a trigger or can be an action. So if you remember, we have in the code on the front end, I think it's component or trigger that we're having when we have an editor here. The type is trigger or action, so is this type, right? Is this type of events that we're trying to. So we also be using this to filter, right? If it is the first node, right? If it's the first node, we know it's a trigger, so we want to show the trigger apps, right? And also the events that are specifically trigger. Okay, so and one thing that Zapier also does, one thing that Zapier also does is if you click on an event, you see the description, right? You see the description. This one, two, we might have it, but okay. So it has description. So we want to use a description as well. We also want to show description, which is going to be string. And one thing that we shouldn't forget is the authentication, which is going to be optional. I'm just going to put it here. It's going to be optional because there are some apps that doesn't literally need authentication. Like if you're going to be using the internal stuff, internal events, right, internal nodes, like client tasks that we created, we really don't need the authentication, really. I think so. I don't think we need authentication actually. We don't need it. Sure though. So the name, display name of the authentication, the name of the authentication, for the authentication we will be I'm still thinking about the authentication for the internal, like CRM functions, like the to-do, the clients and stuff. I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about how that is gonna go. So we have OAuth. So there are some that you have to like do the whole of, go to a certain URL, connect your account, and there are some that can just be API key. I just have to put in your API key, we save the API key, and then so this is what we use to show on the front end here. you know, for Gmail, you see you have accounts. You can click on change, right? If you want to connect, so Gmail uses auth, right? And you can see it sort of tells me to come and connect my account. So that's what Gmail uses, right? And you can see you have the emails available, like the connections available in there, right? So this is coming from the connections of Gmail that has been done, that has been connected. So which means we can have connection for Gmail separate, we can have connection for Google Sheets separate, we can have connection for all these other Google apps separately. But I'm going to use one period, like the period. This common authentication is just the scope that is different. It's just the scope that is different. Scope that is different. Is the scope that is different. Okay. 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 So there's display name. Right. If you haven't connected anything, let's say Stripe. This is Stripe. I've not connected anything on Stripe, so confirm payment. Continue. You see, sorry, I've connected Stripe. Step. I have not connected. What are these other apps that they have? Listen, and they. Okay. I'm not sure, but let's say Homes Made Easy. Let's choose the event that I want to invite prospect, and I see. So connect. So the what the stuff is Home Made Easy, right? So Home Made Easy is the what is the display name, and when you click on sign in, it takes you to the. And now what you now see is different. Is that the previous one we had it take us to where we had to like just connect our account, right? And you can see the hot starts in this, right? So if we do backspace, so if we connect this again, sign in. And now it's asking for the agent ID, and the API key. So like, so that is why I said there can be some that are what that are API key, there are some that are auth, right? Where you just have to log into that account and connect it. So as an example, okay. So we have the Home Made Easy. It's going to be display name, right? The name itself can be, let's say if it is for Gmail, we can say it's Google, because we're going to be having one authentication stuff for it. I don't know, like that's just it. I can just have Google and request for everything, and you can use Google anywhere that you want to use Google. So we have the authentication, and then we have something called properties. So there's something we could actually do is that if you select an event, right? If you select an event, then we should have like properties, right? Because if you see here, they have actions, right? And these are properties that you need to fill out. Or should I say property, or should I say I should just say it's the parameters or stuff that you need to fill out anyways. So this. So this we're going to design this from the backend, from the front end actually. Sorry. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Is either we have property in here and we show everything there, right? That is only pertaining to send email. But if you look at this, you create label and you have to take in this, and now we just have to put in the name. But yeah, so like reply to email and send email now. So reply to email. Using reply to email, what you see, we select the thread, right, which is the email we're trying to send, but we have the two, right, which basically is the same thing. We have the CC, the BCC, we have the from, which is having the same thing as that of the send email, from name, reply to, the body type, the body, the labels and stuff. So they're very, very similar. Like, let me say that almost the same thing, right? So one thing we can have is that we can have like properties in here, or we can have the properties in here. And I think we can probably have it in here. Let's have it in here. So it's going to be no description, properties. It's going to be an array. So export interface and description. Okay. And description property. And for each of the properties, one thing you see is that to action, we have the title, the required. We have if it is a drop down or not. But one thing that you notice here is that there are drop downs that loads. Like let's see, let's go to the from. That is not loading as well. Yeah, this one. You see it loads and sort of gets us the stores you need, right? So there are some that loads, there are some that are basically just available already for use. Okay, so they're different. Okay, so we need to have different types, like different we call it sorry guys. So I'm just gonna call it type. Inode property type, right? It's going to be, so it's going to be text. It's gonna be text area, just like we have for email, right? Like we have for the body content of the email. So if it is HTML, it doesn't really seem to change. You just have to paste in your HTML. So it's just basically the syntax area. Hello, you can you do Control B? It doesn't even work. Anything, no special styling at all. Right, nothing special here. And we have attachments, which I don't even know how attachment works. Doesn't seem to doesn't seem to what do I call it? It doesn't seem to validate that section. But that's not like we're not trying to do the validation. We're not as good as this guy, so yeah. So we have text area, we have string, which is just gonna be text. We have number, right? We have toggle or switch, which is boolean. We have options. Yeah, we have options. Let me see options of selections. Selection. So to start this, we need to have display name, the name, the type is important, and the description as well. Can I need others? So then this is going to be description for today. So okay, we're gonna have required, like we checked there, required, which can be bool, so it can be required or not. We can have the default value, which can be string, bool, or it can be number, because you see bool, we have boolean, we have string, so either it's selection, string, or text area. It's basically just going to be string, and we have number, like because they're expecting number type. Okay, so we can have default value that you want to select by default, right? Then let's check. We have description, we already had it there. So like for the selections, we can have, like I showed earlier, where you have like options that you can select from, like default options, right? Or there's one that actually loads an option. So the load option is why we have this method, right? It basically loads some options for us. So they're mostly going to come in as label and value. So those are like options. That is what their job is meant to do. They're just meant to load an option. So let me change this. So this is just going to come back in as what? As label of string, and value of string is an array of that, right? So that is what we're gonna have there. So it's always gonna come in as label and value, because if you're trying to load options, it's for selections, right? So and some we can have a default option, which is optional, right? And so I'm gonna say export interface option, and you're gonna have label or string. We're gonna have value of string. I'm trying to be time conscious today. Then we can have option here, right? And we can have option array here as well. That's also a problem. So there can be default option, but what if there's no default option? Like, what if it has to load the option? You know, like you need to load let's see, you need to load the option. So load option method, which is going to be optional as well. It needs to have a name, which is going to be string. So that name is going to be, if we come in here, is going to be this. So let's say we're having a load option, then we're going to have the name is just going to be this, right? Okay. And then there's one thing that has been rolling through my mind of, because I was looking to init-n and Zapier, and what came to my mind is, okay, there's load option, right? But is it not going to require some fields to be filled out? Like, let's see. So let's say we send an email. Well, let's say it's payment. The options, let's choose another. Let's say create customer action. It creates the customer tax status. That's probably just default values. Let's see, create payment. So we put in the amount, the currency, the customer that we're trying to create payment for, right? We're trying to create payment for the payment method. We have the payment, there's a default. So it means what I'm trying to find out here is that the options that we're trying to load shouldn't require that we must have filled out something on the page before it gets the option, right? Shouldn't require anything. So if it doesn't, we can just have this as string, and let me just say it's option options method. So it's options method. So if there's options, then we use options. Right, we first check if there's options. But if there's no option, then we want to what? We want to call this method to get us the values that we need. Right. Let's see how that actually works. Let me reload. Let me inspect the page. Let me go to console. Not console actually. Let me go to network and get rid of this. So for customer ID, so we have sends as a request. This so DOM attribute. Okay. To choose value. Tree. Right. This has to just be like page title, blah blah blah. Signal request ID. So it's not having anything special. The choices. We have choices. Send the request to choices. And send wait. I was checking payload actually. Okay, that doesn't return anything. Okay, so it sends the action ID, which is call this. It sends the authentication ID. It sends the input feed, which is customer. Then it's going to set parameters if the parameter is needed. So prefill is list customer that I did a name. I don't know. Okay, we have zap ID. That is zap ID 23024. Okay. So it sends authentication. It sends the so that means if it's that means we need to have the node to be able to run. Like we need to have those options to be able to run sort of like independently. Like we can call the node without passing the parameters. Or what do you think? No, we call the node, we pass in the parameters that like authentication and like the methods we're trying to call. No, the parameters that we have, like they have params that we have. Still need to understand that very well, but and we set the selected API, right, which is the app that we're using. We send the app because that's the node. We send the node. We don't really need it. And what we're trying to get is the method we're trying to send. We send to this list customer. So list customer with their ID and name. I guess that's what they're trying to do there. Okay, then it sends a response, and now we get the choices. So we have the key, the label, and the sample. Key, label, and sample. What does sample mean? We have the next page. there's next page, there's always going to be like load more, right? And yeah, so next page we have 3. So we get the choices, we have the get the choices, add it. Okay, so it gets 11 by default. So it seems every time it sends a request it gets 11. Okay, so does that resonate with, so like this one too? If we're doing the from, right, it sends a request choices, right? The payload this time is preview, its alias is the send as email dot send as email. We don't really need to think much about them. Okay, so we get the params, we have the body type, the files, the two, just in case. Yeah. So this is like what they're actually looking to have. So if I fill this out more, I do well, and I come here to the form and I select this. Now you see our choices. It's going to send the CC as well, right? Good. So like this is sort of like what is needed by the node. These are the parameters that is needed by the node. So what we have to be passing to node is we need to pass in the parameters, the authentication that is needed to run that node if there's any. Okay. Good. So let's create a, so, okay, let's read me, and I'm very bad with writing, so I'm just gonna clear this all out. Maybe this is code, whatever. I don't know. Let's just clear all this out. Okay, so we need to use node, and under node explanation, so under that we have every node needs to take in the same param structure thing. And when it comes to choices, we need that's like node choices. Node choices. When sending a request for choices, we need to send a structure like below. Zapier. Okay, so need to add code. So we have JSON. Also, okay. So we should have, instead of selected API, we should have like node, maybe like Gmail. I love sending stuff like this. We have the params, the preview. I don't know what that is going to be. The action, the field, and the workflow ID, which is going to be, let's just give an example. Let's use our own ID. Let's use our own ID. Okay. The page, we might need that. Okay. I think I'm good with this. So we are keeping track of like some things we think we need to start saving up, right? That we're going to be using. So I'm going to change this from selection to choices. Thank you. To choices. So we learned something there. Something there. Okay. So we have the option method, right? And now there's some type, right? Like this type that we need to pass in some options for. So type, let's say it's type is going to be name of this, and then it's going to be props, right? So the props can be let me just do this. So let me take this and we come here. It's going to be interface, right? And into code space, and we're going to replace this, and then the props is going to be optional, right? And the props we want to have the mean value. So if it is number, we want to have the mean value, right, which is going to be number. We want to have the max value, which is going to be number. If they are trying to set some details about the input type, let me say, I call input type, or like the property, the type of the property. So the box that you're going to be using, so if it is a number, you might want to set like the minimum value they can set, the maximum value they can set. Because at one point, this can actually be something that will make open source. Like this is literally going to be open source or something, right? And then people can add, like what? No, like what we're trying to get to is the point where people will be able to add more nodes, right? Following certain standard, right? They'll be able to add a node, their own API, custom APIs, and like um, have that in the app, right? And we have more nodes, and like people will be able to sort of go into probably repo, clone it, make the bring in their own nodes, make a pull request or something, and we merge it together. So something like that. Okay. So we also want to check if it is password. So if it is password type, which is going to be boolean. So the password type, we want to make it password type, so that when they are inputting it, it sort of like simulates a password like stuff, So and there are some options like this. Wait, like this two. See, they are multi-value, right? They are multi-values. So you can select multiple values. We don't know how we're going to be dealing with the choices for it to be like multiple values, right? But with the input, you can have multiple values, which is going to be like an array of values. So we have multi-value. It's going to be boolean, right? Multi-value. Is it multi-value or multi-values? Let's just leave multi-value, whatever. So multiple values. I think it needs to have this. So multi-values. So then we'll be able to add, probably we'll be able to like create multiple options as you enter into one input, right? Input vid, we create a new one below it, and then we map them all together to be an array. Though we're going to start with just one input, like selecting one value for everything, like one value for all of the properties, right? Then we get to that point where we now have like multi-values, right? We start dealing with the values, like sending to multiple emails or something like that, right? So there's a property, and I think that should do it for the node type, the inode type. What do you think? I think that should do it for us. That should do it for us. So what am I gonna do? We're 1 hour 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in. So we have dealt with the interface for the node. We need the interface for the authentication as well, but I don't know what that is going to look like yet. Interface at TS, and we're gonna have Google. Let's just have files. We're gonna have Google.ts. We're going to have I think Google.ts is like okay. That is what we're gonna have. Right. So we're going to have the interface for that as well, but I just don't know what the interface is just going to look like yet. So I'm going to export So I'm going to export. Authentication. So export interface authentication. I think so. We can have Google. So I'm going to rename this google.authentication.ts. So we're going to implement authentication. Okay. Don't know what that is going to look like yet. So what we could probably do is ask ChatGPT. Let's see what ChatGPT can do in this sense. Right. Let's see what ChatGPT can do. So we're gonna say we are building a workflow automation builder. We are setting up the project and giving the necessary interfaces, and we want to set the interface for authentication. This is the interface we have for the nodes. So we're going to check how. We're going to give it the interface for the node that we have and create the interface for authentication that can be used across nodes, Gmail, Stripe, just giving it example, etc. Apps. Let's send that and let's see what it gives us actually. So we have the display name, the name, the icon, the events. What? The authentication. Wait. Okay, wait. Okay, I get this. Properties. What's the property? Dude. Oh god. This is worse than I think. So what it's trying to do is we have like, okay, client ID, client secret, type of a thing, authentication, and you have the client ID, client secret, core. No, that's not what we're trying to get at. That's not where we're trying to get at. So what we're trying to get at, I probably didn't give it the we can say that maybe I didn't. I probably didn't. So let me plug. I probably didn't give it the right instruction, for it not to give us what we really need. So this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go authentication. I don't know. I think the icon is still gonna be there. I'm not just sure if we're gonna be getting using everything from the seed React icon, because we have React icon as well. Okay, or type of icon. So because show okay. So we have the display name, the name, Google, blah blah blah. We have icon. I don't know what I don't know what the authentication is going to look like, to be frank. I sure don't know. You know what? We're just going to we're going to say this is description, read only description. Yeah. So you can answer description. Description. And then we have display name. Cool. Then we have the name. So we go down. And we have the type, I should type as well, which is going to be OAuth. So we need to write type OAuth So when that is in this interface, we don't just set, we just need to keep with the description. So let's say description presentation. Yeah, I mean you can set it twice. It's not a big deal, I guess. Google location. Let's just set parentheses. Okay, what's left? Type. Set type. The display name, the name. So string because that's the way to save ourselves right now. It's just the only way to save ourselves. Oh fuck. So we can have it like this. Right. I don't know what more we can have. We can have like get credentials, as in like authenticate. I don't know. I don't know. But this is just the basic structure that we're gonna have. But can we? Is it possible for us to get this to the front end? So like we get this to the front end, so that can get it to the front end, so that like we can start showing it. What do you think? Let's see. So instead of notes, we want to have index.ts, and if we can have um, let's try to use Java. Have a TypeScript project inside of the project have a notes folder where I have folders of node is good file name index.node.ts. To write a function that write a function that gets gets all the nodes and return them as an array, and retain their type of each node is So, let's see what this does. So, node. So we have to get node lists here, which returns node. What's the time? What does the time have to do? What does the time have to do? Okay, let's copy this. Let's copy this. Let's copy this. Let's paste it here. We might not later do this way. I'm just being me, trying to overachieve. So we have the directory. Notes. And let's import this file some way that we can easily see. Let's go to the app, to the main. Maybe we can import it in the layout or something. Yeah, we can import it here. What do we have it to export? Export default get node list. Okay. So let's go back here. Yeah. No, it shouldn't be in the app. It should be the console should be in here. Right. There's reload. Nope, that doesn't show anything. That doesn't show anything. This console log loading nodes. Right. Just importing the get node list. So let's do in here and do const nodes equals get node list, and do console log nodes. So it's saying no such files as workflow scanner workflow builder next. No such file. No such file. Okay. So what we're using is we're using the directory. Okay. Using the directory, so come on, think. Maybe we should use the process cwd right node. So we have load. Okay, so we have Google, we have book, next.js. So console select the file. Alright, you see the index, you see the webhook. Okay, but that's not the thing we're trying to get at. I'm trying to read. So we have the node files and file, and can come in here if end file equals to this, then to be frank, this is all a waste of time. Let's be frank with this. It's all waste of time. What we can actually just do is we can just we can import everything in here, right? We could probably import everything in here, right? And just show them. I don't know. But this will be the end of live today, of this live series today. So what we're able to do is we're able to set up the basic interface for the nodes. So in the next live series and next live stream, we're going to start working on the functions, right, or methods that needs to be in these classes, right? So we're going to start working on them, some of which you could get done quickly and just send to or what we can just basically do next live stream is we can get all the events out. So we get all the events out, and then we show the notes, the apps, and the words and the events that is applicable based on the type of the node. Right, if it's a trigger, then we want to show all the apps that are available for trigger, and I want to show others that are available, all the events that are available for that node, right, based on the type. So that's I think that should be our next thing. And yeah, so when we get as much events as we need in here, then we start implementing the function, right, and then we start dealing with how we want our JSON to look like, right, how we want our JSON to look like, so that I want our workflow JSON to look like. You understand me? So like we can have workflow, and those not workflow, we're gonna have nodes, right, and we're gonna have something called connections. So connections is what we have, where we have the source or to source to target mapping, right, of the nodes, so that we know which node comes first, which nodes follows, right, which node follows after that. So the progression of the nodes, we're able to know that. And we already have the title, right, we have the active, which we already have, which is boolean, right, and we need to have, so we need to set what the node is going to look like, right? we need to set what the node is going to look like, because there's some, like, for each node we're going to have like we know we're going to have an ID for that. That is what we use for the connection, right? We're going to have the data. Let's see. We're gonna have the ID. We're going to have the type. Yeah, remember that, which can be triggered on that. Oh, I'm sure we're gonna have data for sure, and in that data we're gonna have params. So that params is what we get from these properties, right? Then in this data we're gonna have the authentication ID, right? If there's authentication ID, right? If there's authentication ID, we're gonna have the authentication ID. We're going to have the node. Should we call it node? Let me see the API, the events, right? The events. So the events can be like send email. The API can be Gmail, right? Yeah. I think this is probably how we're gonna have it. That should be it, I guess. So we're gonna have a structure like this, right? And that's how we're gonna be saving our nodes, like our workflow, right? And obviously our workflow is gonna have an ID itself, but the ID is already attached by convex for us, so we don't really need to worry about that. So we're going to be dealing with this just schema type of a thing in the next live stream. So the main thing we're going to be doing in the next live stream is let's try to so to do the 7, right? I think it's the 7. So what we're going to do the 7 is we're going to add events to the node description. So we're going to add event Gmail to sheet to webhook. We might create and we might create for clients and task, right, as well. So that's the first thing. The second is get the node to the front end with filtering. So what we want to do is we want to get the nodes to the front end with filtering based on the node type. So this can be trigger or action. So we want to get the nodes to the front end. I show it. Then map out the structure for the workflow database. Sample. So we have a sample here. We have a sample, which is the one we just created now. Where did we put that? Okay. Yes. So we have a sample. I'm just gonna put this sample here. It's JSON. Right. Yep. Good. And this is the JSON that we have. Okay. So then if we have more time tomorrow, we're gonna add a plus button to the node on the front end, so we can add more nodes. Basically that. So that's what we're looking to do in the next stream, and hopefully we're going to get this done in the next stream. And you can find this on the GitHub as well. You can find this on the GitHub. I'm going to push this now. So thank you guys. Git add git commit down. So it's a fit. Added interface for node and authentication. We're gonna push this. So thank you guys. So in the next live stream, we're going to try to accomplish this, and then we also have to keep in mind that when we start building our node, this is what we are trying to let it look like. Right? We want it to